Hello, everybody. And for those of you who are new to the channel, since there are, because our subscriptions are going up, we crossed the 300 subscribers threshold just a couple days ago or yesterday. So there are new viewers to the channel. Welcome aboard. For you, if this is only your second video or you've only seen a couple of videos, just let me explain. I do a more produced video once or twice a week, but I am working two jobs, and so I don't have, it's obviously more time consuming to do those, and so I'm doing a video a day. I am not Armenian, but I care about Armenia, I care about Armenians, and it's not just, I stumbled across a buried treasure, if you will, and that buried treasure is a true story. And it's kind of strange to refer to the Armenian genocide as a treasure, but it's, there's all kinds of metaphors for, how do you make diamonds? It's pressure, and it's, or the cream rises to the top, or you have to go through the fire to purify the gold. And so, the Soghomon-Tehlirian story is that treasure, and that's what the whole point of this channel, my other channel, Tales of Truth. I am focused on getting that story told. It's an incredible story. Okay, now I do these videos right after my night shift job, and I'm going to try and make this a short one. I'm sure many of you have already tuned out, or many of the new viewers, but in the description, or in the comments of one of my recent videos, one of my friendly commenters was talking about something that I've been thinking about, and, well, the subject you already know because of the title of this video, but the subject is something I was going to do a video on. It's something that I bring up every now and then, and that is China and George Soros, which I don't know if I've ever mentioned George Soros on this podcast, but I don't have time to do all the research that I need to do or I would like to do, but there's enough information for me to make comments in my observations. Armenia is in turmoil right now, and the figurehead of that nation is Nikol Pashinyan, and as every leader of every country is, he is a target. He's targeted by his own people and by the enemy. And again, I say this over and over again, I'm not a Pashinyan apologist. In other words, I'm not here to defend Pashinyan. One thing about my affinity for Armenia and all things Armenia, it's kind of opened my eyes to a bunch of things, but in particular, I remember when I flew to Armenia, I flew through Moscow, and in Yerevan, I encountered a lot of Iranian tourists, and in fact, one of the historians that was with me is, I guess he's Armenian, but he's Iranian. His father escaped or fled Armenia, or his grandparents fled and went to Iran. And so his father was raised in Iran. So he would, I guess, call himself Iranian Armenian, even though he was born in Yerevan. But those two countries, Russia and Iran, are traditionally enemies of my people, the Americans, my people. And so flying through Moscow and understanding that Armenia has alliances with Iran and Russia, it's like the world is a much more complex place than we Americans tend to realize. We get comfortable in our prosperity. The poorest people in America are above the poverty level on the globe, right? So I mean, it's all, it's relative, but we are in our comfortable bubble, And there are enemies, and there are friends, and there are friends of our enemies and enemies of our friends that we're friends with, and there's enemies that we're enemies with but are friends with sometimes. And, it's just the reality of life. I mean, you may have people in your life that you can't stand, but you have to be polite to them to get what you need from them or to get by. So it's the same deal. But in following the American politics and elections, and China is the greatest threat, right? That's irrefutable, right? China is the greatest threat. Russia's not. I mean, Russia's a threat, sure, but what could Russia do, right? There's stuff they can do, but if your economy is smaller than that of the state of Texas, you're limited in what you can do. But China's economy is the second biggest on the planet, and they are actively targeting democratic nations or targeting free nations, or they just. I've wanted to do something more in depth about China. I'm not going to right now, but they have Belt and Road Initiative, the Cyber Silk Road, the Confucius Institutes, the 1,000 Talents. These are all programs. China has a long-term goal. We Americans have a short-term goal. We just want to watch TV. Right? It's like anyway. So Pashinyan, does he belong to terrorists? Is Pashinyan beholden to terrorist states or terrorist activity? Because I would categorize the the Chinese Communist Party as a terrorist organization. I mean, they are committing genocide right now. They don't have freedom of press. They torture. They manipulate. I'm sure they finance terror as well. I mean, they finance violence in the United States. I won't go into what I'm talking about. I won't elaborate on that. But the Chinese Communist Party is a terrorist. They're terrorists, period. That everybody seems to just want to appease because they're so big, right? And so they're investing in Armenia. They're investing in economically strapped countries around the world. And one of, I know I saw somebody commented on the other comment about, Armenia may not be in the same boat as some of these other countries, but this cyber city, they want to, I guess Pashinyan has signed the agreement to allow China and China's technological development to come in and set up a cyber city. And I'm not against that either. I'm not against technology. I'm not even against surveillance technology. What I'm against is allowing the government to control it, right? I have no problem with if it's totally transparent and everybody's agreed to it, right? Like everybody has access to these cameras, right? Everybody would have access to the information, right? It's like, I have no problem with spy technology being installed if it's 100% transparent and public access, right? Right? I mean, that's the only way I would think it's okay. But for the Chinese to come in, they'll certainly be, be monitoring it from their headquarters in Beijing or wherever. And I mean, if you have nothing to hide, then what's the big deal? But, and then Soros is involved in some nefarious stuff. And, I haven't done a deep dive, but it doesn't mean Pashinyan is beholden to them or a slave to them. He can still be an independent actor, but I don't know. I mean, if there's this big rich guy who's going to give you money for your, I don't know. I didn't look into it. It was Pashinyan's political campaign funded by Soros. Is that the case? And what does that mean? Soros wants to buy influence for his agenda. I wouldn't say that everybody he's financed goes right along with his agenda, I think. But again, at that level, I don't know what kind of coercive tactics Soros may employ. I mean, I don't know what kind of nastiness is going on. All right, this is just a rambling. Yes, I do ramble. I'm aware that I ramble, but in order to do a video a day, I this is a journey that I'm on, and you guys are on it with me, those who watch. Some of the videos get a lot more views. Sometimes it's because of the way I name them. Sometimes it's the content itself. But there's a certain percentage of people that watch all the way to the end and that are watching this right now. Hello, my friends. Maybe even some of my enemies that stick to the end. But just keep sharing, keep subscribing, keep commenting, keep liking, and tell me what you think of Soros and China and their investment in Armenia. Because, you can take bad money and use it for good unless there's some nasty stuff that goes on out there. I mean, like, I've thought about it myself. What if I was in a position, they would threaten my family. I can't protect my family from, if somebody wants to target you, somebody with power, there's nothing you can do about it. All right. And so I do take that risk. It's something I recognize right away, that if I dive into this thing, I'm making a lot of enemies. If I really pursue the Armenian genocide and publicizing it and, taking it as my cause, right? It's a life cause. There's a reason for it. I believe I'm supposed to, and I believe it is key to some important things happening in the world. I won't go into detail, but I knew that I would be putting a target on my back, and so now this is the first attacks I've received are from some Turks and Azeris on YouTube. Yay! But if and when this project gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and I continue this, it'd be easy for somebody to find me. Easy. Anybody can find me anytime and take me out, take my kids out, or, it's just like, but I'm not afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of. You can take my life. You don't own me, right? You could take everything. You can make my life miserable. But there's more to this life than just what we see around us. Some of you know what I'm talking about. It's like, I have peace, If it's my time, it's my time. All right, that sounds creepy, but no, it's just like, what are you living for? What are you really living for? Are you ready to die? Are you ready to die?